But when I'm talking about visibility, it is understanding and the strategic ability to be in the right rooms at the right time with the right people, and you are articulating your value. It's not about braggadocious, but the piece is you're feeling recognized and empowered and valued because you are clear on the value that you bring.
Welcome to the award-winning Authors Show, where we guide professionals in crafting a lasting legacy through the art of self-publishing. We help you remove self-doubt from your mind with our proven process to become a published author. We have helped authors all over the world to publish their books since 2002. I'm your host, Lisa Umina, CEO of Halo Publishing International. If you're ready to become an award-winning author, let's get started. My guest today is Janet Wise, a global leadership development executive turned career strategist and visibility authority. After years advising Fortune 500 CEOs and senior leaders on how top talent gets identified and promoted, she now helps professionals make their value impossible to ignore. She's the author of The Visibility Effect and the creator of the Career Visibility Framework, leading a movement that turns visibility into a true career advantage. I'd like to welcome Janet Wise to our show. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning, Lisa, and I am thrilled to be on your podcast.
I don't know who smiles bigger. But today, what I love to do is, this whole process. An author comes to us, I feel like a proud mom. I know what the finish line looks like. Janet, you came here. We had fun from the moment we were connected, just putting this whole beautiful book together for you. But we all know that this project ends up being bigger than a book. It becomes bigger than us. And you have such an amazing presence on LinkedIn. I started following you right away, even before you signed with my company. But I just wanted to know more about you. What was your energy all about? Your energy is so addicting. And then again, the sleepless night of the night before the launch, the pre-launch, and hoping and praying that we did everything possible. My team just worked night and day to do that. And you became #1 Amazon bestseller in, I think, 3 categories. How does that feel?
Incredible. I know the word surreal is overused almost as much as visibility is these days. However, it truly was an incredible moment and very affirming. And when I say affirming, Lisa, I mean it across the board. Affirming, that I recognize that I could not have achieved this alone. Nobody creates in a vacuum. Affirming that I trusted who was introducing me to you at the right time. I mean, timing is everything. And really surrounding myself with experts and being able to say, this may be my body of work, but that's what I knew. But trusting you and your team to be able to deliver on what you knew so that we truly were able, when I say together, to help me reach #1 across 3 categories. It was mind-blowing and thrilling. And I thank you again and your team for that.
Well, thank you. I think why we're all here is because we love what we do, both as you and the author and in our team as a publishing house. We have this incredible responsibility of publishing the right voice, amplifying it globally. And I really don't take that lightly. I think it's an honor, and I'm both humbled and honored to do this as I've been doing for the last 23 years. So what does it feel like now? Okay, so we're checking the boxes, right? #1 Amazon bestseller. Have you had a book release event? Have you meeting? What's going on? What's the energy now?
I am having a book release event, intentionally having it in New York City, where I reside, in January.
Okay.
And part of that is because there's a lot happening at the end of the year. There are a lot of other holiday parties, but it really lent itself to being able to see what other ways can I bring the book, which I truly feel is a movement. You and I do similar work in that we are giving a voice and visibility to people. We just do it through different channels. But with the book, I'm starting a campaign about giving the gift of visibility. And it really came to me Yesterday, I had lunch with my very first hiring manager. So
Okay.
I'm talking 1980s, and she is still my lifelong champion. And I realized that she had the gift of seeing other people's potential. It wasn't about me gifting her this book. It was about also the gift that she gave me. And that's where I said to myself, this is really just a wonderful opportunity to use this. Here in the States, we have Thanksgiving coming up, but the whole holiday season around the gift of visibility, whether you're giving it to yourself, whether you're giving it to others. And then that's why my book release will be in January. I just think that it just really just follows suit with
Beautiful.
that. So
Beautiful.
I'm excited. Yeah.
Start the new year with really the launch. This is really like the soft launch, right? It's the
Yeah.
end of the year, but again, not to plug it a million times, but it is an absolute amazing gift to give to
Yeah.
someone
Yeah.
stagnant in their life and needs this boost. And we'll talk about all the benefits of this book. But when you look at it, it's like everything has prepared you for this moment because
Yes.
again, you couldn't write this book if you didn't live what you preach, right? And so for me, I saw that. I thought, wow, this is great. I really signed the right person for this book because, again, all the assets that come along with everything you put together, and that's what I'm going to lead into, you know this. But when you look at your life and the legacy you've already created, now this book is just a beautiful gift wrapped around it. What inspired you to write this? What did you do? How did it all come together?
Yes, well, you're spot on when you say I've lived it, and that's one thing that readers would find, or even listeners here to this podcast will find, is everything that I've presented in this book is not just theory. It is best practice in play, proven methodologies on how to really activate what is an individual's, essence, brand, and building that into visibility. So if I sort of unpack that and say, so how did I get here? I found myself early in career where the company I was working for was being acquired by another organization. And these were at the time Fortune 100 organizations. I was on Wall Street, and almost everyone was getting sort of picked for different teams. I had recently transferred from another office to the New York office, so I didn't have as much of an internal network. And slowly but surely, it was getting a little quiet on the 40th floor at 60 Wall Street. And I had again, just fortunate enough, happened to be a female managing director, and came over to me and she said, "What's going on?" She says, "I know you're talented. I've seen the exceptional work you do. Why are you still sitting here?" And she said, "Look, here's how it's going to go down. If they don't pick you, you need to pick them. You need to advocate for yourself." So
Yeah.
that was the first time where I said, okay, I've got to wake up and step up and speak for myself, give myself voice.
Yeah.
That was the first piece. And then from that, my career progressed where I became a functional head leading global learning, leadership, career development for organizations. And then I started to see it from another lens, sitting at the table with whether it was the executives, the HR team, deciding who's going to be the talent to deliver on the business objectives.
Yeah.
And there were some individuals who I knew I had seen enroll who are brilliant, doing exceptional work, but they weren't visible in that room. And that's when I knew that my work started to begin around personal branding, but it wasn't enough. I knew that individuals needed to activate that brand. And that's how the Visibility Effect and the Career Visibility Studio was born.
No, and you think about that too. And I worked at the Wall Street Journal in Cleveland, and I've worked in so many different facets, whether it was in advertising, what have you. But I realized that somehow, even though I was in those positions and I loved them all, they all gave me the experiences that I needed, right? I just kept thinking, oh, I think I'm an entrepreneur. I think I just need to, it just was in the back of my head
Yes.
all the time. I'm like, yeah, I think I want to be the boss. No, but I saw things and it just fell into place too. And I married
Yes.
you with that because again, maybe you're overpicked because you're overqualified. You see my point? Because sometimes I
Yeah.
think that too, like you're just literally waiting, like ready to be hatched into making your own destiny and not following again underneath number 44703 employee number, right? And so
Correct.
when you look at that and you look back, and I can say this too, like, wow, this all that was for this, and this is thank you. It was like school 101, but I really see that with you. Like, you have this talent, and believe me, I think some of it could be learned in school, but it's a gift, and a gift you definitely have. Someone wants to pick up the book. What's the takeaway? What are they going to get? What's the message that's going to resonate with them? Why do they want your book?
They want the book because they want more for themselves. They know they have more to deliver on, more to either give of themselves or to themselves, whether it's in their current organization, a future organization, or maybe even an entrepreneurial venture. But it is really that visibility changes everything if you know how to use it. What is visibility and what isn't visibility, but how to make it work for you. So yes, it's as much of a skill, right? But it's also this piece about understanding how to make it work for you. So I've defined career visibility, right? And I say also, by the way, Lisa, career visibility,
Yeah.
although that's not just in the title of the book, but the reason is there's, as we said, there's lots of different ways to be visible. And we know we want to be strategic about it. We know we want to be intentional about it. And we're bringing our stories and our lens to how we want to develop that visibility. But when I'm talking about visibility, it is understanding and being the strategic ability to be in the right rooms at the right time with the right people, and you are articulating your value. It's not about braggadocious. Maybe it could be about a promotion. It could be about a new interview, but the piece is you're feeling recognized and empowered and valued because you are clear on the value that you bring.
Yeah.
And that is where you go from invisible to
Right.
almost invincible because you
Yeah.
have that clarity and that becomes your North Star.
Oh, that's perfect. Thank
Yes.
you for that. That's absolutely right on the dot when you talk about summarizing, obviously, everything you say and you believe in. Now, you talk about in the book 50 visibility truths. Can you talk about a couple of those truths that we can take away from today?
Yes. So without a doubt, that one that I just said, right? That visibility matters, right? Visibility, it's not luck. It's not charisma. It is actually an intentional, deliberate, strategic action that you take. And that's why you need that clarity so that you are able to identify those visibility moments. I think the other thing that I'd like to share, like on the bold truths, a favorite is that past performance does not necessarily guarantee a future opportunity, right?
Right.
Relevance, relevance matters. Relevance is what that is. So you need, particularly in today, with a changing world, we've got AI, we've got hybrid workforces, that visibility is the new currency, right? For careerists, in that they need to be able to also start articulating and aligning themselves for where the organization is going. Of course, exceptional performance matters. That keeps you in the game. That's almost table stakes at this point. But to progress forward, you need to be able to really understand how you want to position your value so that it speaks on your behalf even before you enter the room.
Absolutely. I think too, I always say that showing up is so important, and people don't understand that. And I have to explain that because I'm like, number one, we have to show up for life. So, and that's huge for some, some people have the same everyday life, get up, brush my teeth, eat my breakfast, go home, eat, go to bed. And for me, I'm like, okay, this is only one life we have, right? So I want to be visible. And I, even as an owner of a company, I find that your book is so helpful because there's so many of us. So how do I stand out? How do I show up for this meeting, for this moment, and working with an author to show them, look at what you're getting, look at all the assets, working with someone like me who is an expert, but I'm an expert because I have the visibility. I understand it. I don't want to be just another person in another slot publishing a book, any type of book, and I don't even care about what I'm publishing. So I take it very seriously every day. I mean, even at my age, I think even more so. You work closely with organizations, HR leaders, and LED executives. What does a visibility-driven organization look like, and how can companies build one?
I hope they'll contact me because I really want to be.
Hey, that's what this is about.
Yes,
You're getting
yes,
the
thank
book,
you.
but you better contact her too. Right, that's what this is all about, to work with an expert, right?
Well, yeah, and yes. So first to your point is differences are advantages, and being able to understand what makes you unique. I mean, if you work in an organization, I'm doing some consulting work right now in the organization. There are over 200 account managers in there. You're not your job title, right? Those are naming protocols.
Right.
For HR, it's a bandwidth. That's your title. How are you different within that role, right? So part of that is marquee messaging. There's something you're bringing, just as you said, Lisa, through your life experience, right? Through maybe another work experience, but there's likely something that you're bringing to that role that's different than the other brilliant person who's sitting with a similar title, right? We can all work together. This is not necessarily a competition. You've got to elbow somebody out, but it's understanding the value. I always come back. It's to the value that you're bringing. And that value that you're bringing is coming from you, your experiences, your schooling, your education. It could be your lack of education because it could be coming from, learning from a different experience. But what's happening inside organizations is for too long, it has been that organizations rely on certain frameworks, certain tools to identify their talent. But if the individual has not had the ability to articulate to their manager either what they want or what's unique about them and how that translates to value to the organization, then when we're in the rooms talking about maybe promotions or a plum assignment or, hey, I want to go work in New Zealand on we got this new client, whatever it is, you're not being heard, you're not being seen. And part of that is also because the manager of that person doesn't know how to speak on their behalf.
Yeah.
And when we're in organizations are worried about retention and engagement and all of that, visibility and career visibility is a way to have that conversation in a context that is building visible leadership and driving value for the organization. So I know you mentioned you're following me on LinkedIn, and I thank you for that. And you're going to see that as much as I will continue to work with individuals, I also will continue to even expand my offerings around being a career visibility driven organization, because that's really going to make the impact, again, for the individual, their managers, and the organization. We can't just rely on what was in the past because we know it wasn't working. And there are things, right, that individuals can do today and they should be doing.
Well, the other thing too, which is huge and it's over our heads, is this AI. I mean, it's replacing jobs, right? So now we have to think of ourselves and just reinventing, not myself, but my team, and then taking my team and saying, wait a minute, I don't want a team. I want leaders. If I walk out of this office, it's your company, it's your company, it's your company. What would you do? And then just changing that verbiage. Again, we're going to stand out, because one thing AI cannot give, right, is the visibility, but that personal service, that back and forth, that again, I don't want to lose that, as we already lost so many things with technology. The old write a letter to someone for thanking them for meeting for the interview, right? Things like that. You just, those little things that you and I are so used to, you're like, oh, that was so, now it's gone. And so we've got, especially now where we're going with AI, really hone in. And I think what I love that you can offer to companies is these workshops, bringing in your book, breakout sessions, and literally saying, okay, here's what you've built, but let's listen to it. Because one thing is, you have, as an owner, you have your vision, but if your team doesn't have the same vision, then what do we do? What are we doing here? So I think you're very valuable. I think this is the direction I believe you are going in the new
Yeah.
year with your book. And I think if everyone's listening, people that are listening, go to your HR leaders, go to your companies and say, look, we need more training. We need to know, because it doesn't just, it starts with the company, right? But it starts with each individual, because they have to make sure, like you're saying throughout this whole interview, is what makes you unique.
Correct.
That's what makes you visible.
Yes. Yes, 100%, 100%. And the piece too is, I'll pull back the curtain a little bit, if you will, because it really has been such a true pleasure working with you and your team. And the one piece where, all along, of course, I've always deferred to your expertise. This is what you all do. But we had this discussion around how I was going to create my table of contents, because I have a trademarked career visibility framework in there.
You do.
And we had, as you said, oh, this is not best practice. It should be this. And we really had to have a healthy, discussion about here's why, and I think this is why you remember that, here's why I want to set up the table of contents this way, so that an organization or an individual in an organization can pick up anywhere in the book. It doesn't have to be linear. You don't have to know truth number 1 to get to truth 50. Right. That you can pick up and just see, according to, well, I need to focus on more clarity. Or maybe I had a performance review and they're telling me that, that I need to, sustain more momentum, or I need more opportunities to communicate more effectively. Well, based on the career visibility framework, that's why you allowed me to to keep the table of contents in a somewhat unorthodox, traditional publishing way, but in a way that's going to make sense for organizations and individuals
For
in
your
the
readers.
organization
For your
to
readers.
activate that.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's a Bible breaking thing. We never read the Bible cover to cover. And I learned a lesson too through you. And I thought, I'm a big believer of, it's not just the book, it's what comes of the book. And to be in a workshop and just to break out and do these sessions and just say, hey, let's just talk about, and I believe this, every chapter can be a session, but
Sure.
This is the topic I need today. I don't need to read all the way through. It's not a novel. And for me, I think it's just it's a tool that everyone needs. And there's specific things that each individual needs. So you've honed in on that. We let you have your contents page.
Yes.
You needed it, and I'm happy that we made you happy with that. So I always like to end my interview with something that we can give to the listeners, you more than me, right? What's the takeaway, even the message? Like, I'm a very big believer of Post-it notes. And if you can put Post-it notes on your mirror when you're getting ready in the morning, I really think it sticks in the subconscious brain. And I'm a big believer on manifestation. So from this interview today, what could something that they've listened to you, or something you believe in, something you talk about all the time, they can literally put, maybe there's more than one Post-it, but maybe they need 5 Post-its to put what you're going to say up on that mirror. But what can you leave our listeners with that they're like, wow, that again, the whole interview, I could literally, I was taking notes. I was like, oh, that was really good. I love that. But if you can leave us with something, what would it be, Janet?
Well, of course, I would love to see. I hope one day in the future there'll be all 50 Post-it notes for all.
I love it. I love it.
Because I do think that they're all actionable. But I really believe that the piece is, don't add more work. We are busy enough, right? We are working hard. I'd like to believe that we're all doing exceptional work in our own, way. Don't add more work. Add visibility. You don't need a reinvention for this. You need a reintroduction. In the book, I give a lot of career visibility moves, and I really say, like, do this. So I'm going to say, do this is create your marquee messaging, right? I think that's one of the most effective ways. You just mentioned, you Wall Street Journal, right? It's the headline.
Yeah.
It's what's happening above the fold.
Book that gets
really,
in, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So really think in terms of what the headline is. I saved 30%. The contract just landed another 20 million in revenue. whatever that piece is, even if it's one single customer that you were able to turn around, that's the headline. Put that in your subject email. That's what will get forwarded. That's what will get you seen, and that's what will enter rooms before you do. So think in terms, don't add the work. You're doing the work. Add the visibility to it.
I love it. That was perfect. Oh, this interview, I'm going to watch it again. I learned so much today from you. I always do. How you can find Janet's book. The Visibility Effect is on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Goodreads, Books A Million, 195 countries. If you're in Germany, Australia, you're going to find this book. All you have to do is type in her name. I can guarantee if you type in your name, you're going to find her book. Janet, thank you so much for being a part of my life, a part of our show today. I know there's going to be another book we're going to work on. I mean, I've already heard it, like How to Become an Entrepreneur was the next one, but we'll have another 50 visibility truths on that. Again, thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure.
It has been a true pleasure for me as well. Thank you so much, Lisa.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. If you're ready to publish your book, please submit your manuscript on halopublishing.com, or you can download our free publishing guide to learn everything you need to know about the entire self-publishing process. Start writing your legacy today.